The alarm screamed through Outpost Theta 9 at 0300 hours, jolting every soldier from their bunks. Red emergency lights bathed the corridors in crimson as Captain Vex's voice boomed through the intercom. Biological threat detected in Sector 7. All personnel, combat stations. This is not a drill. Sergeant Lyra Chen was already moving, muscle memory guiding her through the darkness of her quarters as she grabbed her pulse rifle. Her fingers flew across the weapon's interface, checking the charge levels while her mind raced through possibilities. Sector 7 housed the xenobiology lab, the most secure area of the base. Whatever triggered those sensors had to be extraordinary. She reached the command center within 90 seconds, joining the cluster of officers surrounding the holographic display. The three-dimensional map of the base pulsed with warning indicators, all concentrated around a single point. Status report, Lyra demanded, her eyes scanning the data streams. Lieutenant Torres looked up from his console, confusion etched across his features. Ma'am, the sensors are detecting multiple Catharian signatures, juveniles by the biorhythm readings. Lyra's blood ran cold. The Catharians were apex predators from Proxima Centauri b. 8 feet of scaled muscle, serrated claws, and hunting instincts honed by millions of years of evolution. They were the reason humanity had nearly lost the Proxima Wars. Adults were formidable enough, but juveniles traveled in packs, their pack mentality making them even more dangerous. How many? Captain Vex asked, his hand hovering over the station-wide evacuation alarm. 4 signatures, sir. But there's something else. Torres magnified a section of the display. There's a human biosignature in the same location. The AI keeps flagging it as predator resting with prey. The room fell silent. Everyone knew what that meant. They'd lost someone. Who? Lyra's voice was barely a whisper. Torres worked his console, pulling up personnel tracking. His face went pale. It's you, Sergeant. Lyra blinked. That's impossible. I'm standing right here. The tracker says you're in Lab 7. Current status, resting position, elevated heart rate but stable, no distress signals. Torres looked up, bewildered. Ma'am, according to every sensor we have, you're sleeping with 4 Catharian cubs. Understanding crashed over Lyra like a cold wave. The cubs from the rescue mission. 3 weeks ago, her team had discovered an abandoned Catharian nest during a reconnaissance patrol. Inside, they'd found 4 cubs barely old enough to open their eyes, their mother's corpse cooling nearby, killed by a rival pack. Standard protocol demanded they leave the cubs to nature. Lyra had ignored protocol. She'd smuggled them back to base, keeping them in an unused storage section of Lab 7, visiting whenever her duties allowed. She'd researched Catharian nutrition, spent her personal credits on synthesized nutrients, stayed up countless nights ensuring they survived. The cubs had imprinted on her, following her with those massive amber eyes chirping in their throaty, rumbling way whenever she arrived. Tonight, exhausted from a 36-hour patrol, she must have fallen asleep among them. Stand down the alert, Lyra said firmly. Captain Vex turned on her. Sergeant, those are Catharian predators. Protocol demands. With respect, sir, those are cubs I've been caring for. They're not a threat. Not a threat? Vex's voice rose. Sergeant, in 6 months, those cubs will be apex predators capable of tearing through battle armor. Humanity fought a war against their species. They killed thousands of our people, and we killed thousands of theirs, Lyra countered. Sir, we have an opportunity here. The Catharians fought us because we invaded their territory. These cubs know nothing of that war. They only know that when they were dying, a human saved them. The command center erupted in arguments. Officers shouted about protocols, about safety, about the impossibility of domesticating an apex predator species. Lyra stood silent, letting them rage. She knew what she'd seen in those amber eyes, not the cold calculation of a predator, but the trust of children. Enough. Captain Vex's command silenced the room. He stared at Lyra for a long moment. Show me. They made their way to Lab 7, a full tactical team flanking them despite Lyra's protests. The door hissed open and every weapon raised instantly. The scene before them defied every combat instinct, every lesson learned in the Proxima Wars. 4 Catharian cubs, each already the size of a large dog, lay curled around Lyra's sleeping form on a nest of blankets she'd constructed. Their scales, still soft and iridescent with youth, caught the dim laboratory lights. One, the boldest, whom Lyra had named Corin, had his head resting on her chest, his breathing synchronized with hers. At the sound of the door, Corin's eyes snapped open. Those amber orbs fixed on the soldiers, and a low rumble built in his throat. The other cubs stirred, moving to flank their sleeping human. Their posture was unmistakable, not aggressive but protective. They were guarding her. Holy hell, Torres breathed. They think she's Pac. Captain Vex lowered his weapon slowly. Sergeant Chen, at his voice Lyra stirred. Her eyes opened, taking in the tactical team, the weapons, the tension. She felt Corin's weight on her chest and gently stroked his scaled head. "It's okay," she murmured. "They're friends," Corin chirped, a sound that would become a bone-shaking roar in adulthood, and relaxed slightly. The other cubs followed his lead, though their eyes never left the soldiers. Lyra sat up carefully, running her hands over each cub in turn, soothing them. "Captain, I know I violated protocols. I accept whatever consequences." "Tomorrow," Vex interrupted. "Tomorrow we'll discuss consequences. Tonight," he holstered his sidearm. "Tonight I want to understand what I'm seeing. Because if the sensors are right, what I'm seeing is a human who's managed to do what our best xenobiologist said was impossible." Lyra smiled, scratching behind Corin's ear ridges. The cub leaned into her touch, a purring sound emanating from deep in his chest. "Maybe we were asking the wrong question, sir. We kept trying to understand them as enemies. What if we tried understanding them as children?" Over the following months, Outpost Theta 9 became something unprecedented. A joint habitat where human soldiers and Catharian cubs learned to coexist. Lyra became the liaison, the bridge between species. Corin, the boldest, grew into his role as pack leader, but never forgot the human who'd saved him. When the Catharian elders finally made contact, drawn by reports of their missing cubs, they found something that changed the trajectory of two species. Their children, healthy and thriving, playing in the training yard alongside human soldiers, and at the center of it all, Sergeant Lyra Chen, the human whom 4 apex predators had chosen as family. The sensors still flagged it as predator resting with prey. They were wrong about which was which.